and we are live. It's a Monday. Welcome to another episode of the AFCON Daily Show on Citi TV. My name is Nathan Kwao. Many thanks for joining us. The AFCON has started after weeks and months of whether it will happen or not. It has kicked off, and we had a brilliant start to that competition. The opening ceremony, fantastic. The football was good to watch as well. And on this show, we'll be guiding you through the AFCON, doing some reviews, doing some previews, some tactical breakdowns, in-depth look at the matches, personalities, and the key characters who will make or unmake, to an extent, this AFCON competition, which is being played in Cameroon, of course, organized by the Confederation of African Football and brought to you by Total Energies. My name is Nathan Kwao. Many thanks for watching. Like I said, this is another episode of the AFCON Daily Show on Citi TV on this channel. If you're watching us on DSTV, you are watching us on 363 and on GoTV channel 182. We'd love to hear from you. Send us your thoughts and comments via WhatsApp on the number right there on your screen, 0550-585832. We'd love to read all your comments, all your questions, queries, anything you've got to tell us on this show between now and the next hour. We'll take a quick break. When we come back, I'll introduce my guest and we unpack the show. This is the AFCON Daily Show on Citi TV.
Feel the heat, feel the kick, feel the power, feel the punch, feel the heat, feel the kick, feel the power, feel the punch, feel the heat, feel the kick, feel the power.
Welcome back. This is the AFCON Daily Show on Citi TV. My name is Nathan Kwao. Once again, we really appreciate your time and the fact that you are tuned in to watch us. Let me introduce my guests. One is seated for now. The other will be joining us in a second. Fenso Tahiri is here. Fenso, how are you doing?
I'm well. How are you?
I'm all right. In another world, you'd probably be on the flight. You'd probably be in Cameroon by now. This time you've decided to delegate traveling duties to Benjamin in Ketia.
Very important. And, I'm sure he's enjoying the Hamatan in Cameroon. Because yesterday somebody tweeted that some of those places make you think Accra is Dubai. No, I think it was Sadiq who tweeted that. I think beyond everything else, it's always amazing to cover a competition. And, hopefully the next one, this gentleman here will also be there to cover it.
I'm going to Qatar.
So because it's very important. It's a whole festival. It's a whole vibe. It doesn't matter where it is. Yesterday, you should have seen the visuals coming out of the stadium. The men were enjoying themselves behind women everywhere. That's why we like the AFCON.
We like the AFCON.
Wherever there are Africans, it's a party, man.
Party.
So I'm happy for Ben.
Daniel Carson is also here. Daniel, how are you doing?
I'm very, very good. I'm so excited. I'm so excited. The Black Stars are in action today, so I get to see my boys in action. I'm so pumped for the game.
We need to take good care of Daniel because his expectations are so high.
And you can't fault him.
There's no expectations.
You see, I'm not saying
he's just excited.
I'm just excited to see Black Stars.
I didn't say it's his fault. I'm saying that we need to take care of him in case
things don't work out.
All
right.
So that
he's old enough to
I survived 2010. I don't think I'll have a more painful heartbreak experience
than 2010. Okay, all right. So let's get into that. We have Susu Graham. Susu Graham will be on the touch screen. We'll bring him in a little later. He's getting himself prepped. Let's have a look at the results from day one of the 2021 AFCON competition. The results. Let's have a look at those results. You had Cameroon beating Burkina Faso by 2-1, and then you had Cape Verde beating Ethiopia by 1-0. So that was how it played out in those opening games. Vincent Abubakar, he's already tournament top scorer, 2 penalties, and then you have the likes of Tavares, who scored for Cape Verde, and then you have the likes of Gustavo Sangare, he scored for Burkina Faso, and there you have pictures from the opening game. The Burkinabes taking the lead. And guys, at this point, did anybody think that we were going to have an upset on our hands?
I personally thought so. In fact, I was previewing the game, I think on Twitter somewhere, where I said that I could see an upset in our hands, mostly because I thought that Burkina Faso had this knack of making it impossible for teams to beat them. They came into this AFCON unbeaten. in the qualifying series for the World Cup. They were unbeaten in the qualifying series for the AFCON itself. So they came into this competition very, very strong. And to think that they held the defending champions Algeria over 2 legs in the World Cup qualifiers without losing, I genuinely believed they could get something away from this particular game. And in that first half especially, Cameroon looked out of sorts. And when Burkina Faso scored, it looked like they were comfortable until they gave away 2 very, very needless penalties, very unprovoked penalties. And then all of a sudden, Cameroon were back in the game in the second half. They had a lot more chances to put the game beyond bed. But yes, genuinely, at the time that the Burkina Faso scored, I thought they had it in them to be able to see it out, at least get a draw. But the manner in which they gave it away, I'm not sure anybody could have seen that coming.
Then thoughts on the penalty decisions. I've heard a section of the fans via social media, people talk about the fact that those were harsh penalty decisions. Some people say those were very easy penalty calls to make, and the Burkinabés handed the decisions to the referee on the day.
The fact of the matter is that when it comes to football, even if you take a gun and shoot somebody, there are some people who still say it wasn't supposed to be a penalty. You always have that school of thought. But for neutrals, of course, anybody who doesn't have any attachment to the game, who watched the game, you could see there were clear penalties and silly penalties too on the part of the Burkinabés. Especially when you are leading a game 1-0, when you clearly have the home team under pressure, you clearly have them panicking. You don't give away cheap opportunities like that. And when you come to the continent of Africa, Vincent Aboubakar is one of the best penalty takers on the continent. So you didn't expect him to miss those opportunities. I was, on the flip side, for the Cameroonians, I was very happy with how they handled the pressure on the day. They didn't start the game too well. They seemed a bit jittery. They seemed like they were panicking the opening minutes. And then they went down the goal, and you would have thought that would continue. But they were able to calm down, get their heads together, and start picking up passes. And they started looking more dangerous as the game grew on. So that's what you want to see from the host country. Of course, some people haven't given them much of a chance. But a Cameroonian team playing at home in front of their home fans, for me, they are the dark horses. They are the Italy's going into this competition. Not a lot of people are looking for them, but trust me, not a lot of people also want to face them along the way.
Let's stay with the refereeing decisions. I found it amazing that the referee went to the screen to go have a look at the first incident, because I thought it was a very glaring penalty. I don't know why he went to the screen.
No, I think that is why VAR is
so he just wanted
clear and obvious error, because he missed it.
Fair point.
Exactly. So, but it's the VAR referee's job to let him come and have a look at what they deem a clear and obvious error. It is not every error that the VAR has to be consulted, except one that is clear and obvious. So, like he rightly indicated, it was clear and obvious penalty.
But he missed it at first glance.
He missed it. So then they had to call him back to come and have a look. And once he did, he was always going to give that. Like Daniel indicated, it was a very needless penalty, very silly. From Bertrand Traoré. He had no awareness whatsoever of the situation, of where he was. I think he just went mental for a moment, because I'm not sure he was thinking what was going on there. Because he was under no pressure. The player was moving away from goal.
And that's the
look at
that again.
I mean, he's moving away from goal. And I'm not sure why he needed to block him, because he was going to pass to the player up there. So at this point, there was no need to try and block him. But the reason sometimes, and players can get away with some of these things. You look at it, the reason he probably did that was because during the first half of this match, it was quite physical. So there was a lot of physical battle going on. So some of the players probably thought that they could get away with a lot more physicality and body work. And so, he checks him in a penalty box. Penalty, no ways debate about that. The referee missed it. And this was the first instant that the VAR was consulted. And on that instance, I think CAF scored 100%, because the VAR rectified a very clear and obvious error from the referee. But there's more to come, obviously, as we progress, because, you look at the same match, some other decisions where VAR was consulted, and neither of us could really understand what the VAR decision was. And we're talking about that third goal.
The third goal.
That was disallowed.
Disallowed for offside. Now, your thoughts on that? I've seen a freeze frame of the image, and for the life of me, I don't know how Abubakar or whoever it is was flagged. He didn't look offside to me.
Yeah.
But I don't know which other player was in that offside position. I don't know how they determined that was offside, but I don't.
Look, I've been chewing on this since the
So this is it, right?
Yeah.
So if you pause it here, like they have done,
Yes.
that is Ngamelu up top, all right? Ngamelu is the one up top, the one that is set to receive the pass.
Yes.
At this moment, just before the pass is delivered to Ngamelu, he's obviously not offside.
Yes.
Because you can see the trailing leg of the Burkinabe centre back there, playing him onside. So at this moment, this particular sequence of play clearly can be offside. So the play progresses, obviously. Even at this point when he passes the ball, he's not offside. Okay, so play progresses. He kicks. Now, this was where the key decision came. You will see from the replay, this wasn't where it was deemed offside.
Obviously.
At this point, CAF didn't think that this was. So here, CAF didn't think this was offside. Now, it is when he kicks the ball here. Good. That was where Abubakar was deemed to have been offside, just before he kicked the ball. But at that point, the only player that was probably offside was the player farther to the left. But Abubakar in the middle was definitely not offside.
Look, I was making a point. I was saying we've seen quite a number of these instances in the Premier League where it looks like, when you look at it from the long shot, it looks like the player is clearly onside. I think what CAF should have done was to give us a zoomed image, because I'll take you back to last season's Premier League game between Leicester and Liverpool.
Yeah.
The goal Maddison scored straight from a free kick. When the goal went in, everybody was jubilating. In fact, no, first they thought it was offside. But then when they zoomed in, they saw the trailing leg of Robertson sticking out in a very odd frame. You could easily have missed it if you hadn't zoomed in. And that's what the Premier League did. So, and I'm very sure they went through. I don't want to believe that the VAR sat there, went through all the angles and still came up with this decision. And you can also add the fact that it was a decision that went against the home team. So it means they will take time and make sure that it's the right one. So I'm sure they should just have given us a better angle on that.
All right, apart from all of that, the Cameroonians won by 2-1. The other game on the day had Cape Verde. And during the qualifiers, you had a lot of people saying that keep an eye on Cape Verde. Well, they managed to beat Ethiopia by 1-0.
This was a very silly red card decision. He was deemed to be the last man, I believe.
Oh, yes.
Vieira, again,
rush of blood to the head,
consulted very early on in the match. And then Ethiopia had a man sent off. And this was quite unfortunate because Ethiopia, even after going down to 10 men, they played really, really well. They were passing, and it's what we've come to expect of Ethiopia. Very typical of them. Very quick, intricate passing here and there, play exciting football, but they never really score. They're not efficient in front of goal, even though they play really well. And in this match, even though they went down a man, they still had a really good game. The goal on the stroke of half time from Cape Verde was the only difference, and this was it. You look at the marking from that far side, it's just poor, because there is no way he should be allowed to get all the way out that far wide and get the cross back in. You see, as the cross is coming, nobody is picking the run. He has the freedom to be able to get the ball back in and then head it in, and that was the only difference, because up until this point, Ethiopia looked like they had the game under control even with 10 men. So they would feel very disappointed. But again, am I surprised? No. That's how Ethiopia have always played. You remember them from AFCON 2013.
Of course. Even the most recently, they World Cup qualified.
Exactly.
Exciting football, not a lot of substance.
But it's good for Cape Verde because they are one of those teams that's tipped to qualify, mostly because of their history. You have to remember that out of the 4 third-place teams that would qualify, at AFCON 2019, 3 of the 4 third-place teams that made it to the round of 16 only had 3 points. Yeah. So just this one win for Cape Verde, it could be enough to get them to the next stage.
All right. Daniel, so we've had 2 games in Group A. Just quickly, do you get the sense as to which 2 teams are going to qualify after watching these 2 games?
Before the competition, of course, I knew Cameroon would qualify. That's my pick. I think the other 2 or the other 1 automatic qualifier is what I cannot quite wrap my head around. I think when the draw was done, everybody would have picked Burkina Faso. But if you watch Cape Verde throughout the World Cup qualifiers, they were in Nigeria's group. Nigeria needed a last day draw at home to be able to qualify, and they were that tough. And they are a very difficult side to beat. And offensively, too, they play some beautiful football. So you cannot quite tell. And of course, with that opening day victory, I think they will just need a point now to almost guarantee themselves in the round of 16. Because remember, the third place teams can also go through. Fentas already mentioned the last time around we had a couple of teams who finished with 3 points, still progressing to the round of 16.
3 of the 4.
3 of the 4 all had 3 points. So you will look at this and Cape Verde will just think they just need a point from the next 2 games, which is very possible. Which is very possible considering the strengths that they have in that team.
All right, a couple of messages have come in. We'll read them quickly before we take a bit of a break. This one says Ghana is going to drain goals against Morocco.
Oh God.
Lugard, who's in Carrier, says good show, keep it up. Great Amuf, who's in Agona Swedru, says you guys are looking handsome. Ghana will draw the game down, and there's a message for you. Says tell Danny that Natalia will be shocked today seeing Daniel cry. All right. Somebody's asking, is Mubarak Castle part of Ghana's 11? But we'll find out in a bit. Aladdin from Tem and Fence, he has a message for you. He says, you look more handsome than last night. All right.
But I don't understand why our looks are the center of attention at the moment. Isn't it more of the content?
Well,
how did I look last night?
Well, Fusheni from Northeast
I'm
region.
going to watch back the footage.
Yeah, you should. Fusheni from Northeast region says Ghana is beating Morocco by 2 goals today. Musa Hadi from Tolong in the Northern region says the very best of luck to the Black Stars. I can't wait to see our Premier League hero David Abagna Sandan of RTU in the national jersey. Interesting stuff there. So fans of RTU excited to see one of their own in that team. The last time the Black Stars won an AFCON in '82, they had an RTU player. It was 16-year-old Abedi Pele at the time. He managed to help the Black Stars win that competition. Anyway, let's take a quick break. When we come back, we've got more for you. We've got to look ahead to the Ghana game, which is at 4 p.m. today. We'll talk some Senegal and all others. We'll also try and bring in Susu Graham to run us through some tactics, some analysis, and all of that right here on the AFCON Daily Show on Citi TV. We'll be right back. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back. This is the AFCON Daily Show on Citi TV. My name is Nathan Kwafan, Twitter hero, and Daniel Cranting, my wingman on this side. We'll be getting to Susu Graham a little later. I have a message. Ramos from Somania says, I won't be surprised if Morocco beat us today because they've been in Cameroon since Wednesday. When did our team arrive in Cameroon? It's so bizarre, he says. All right. Somebody says, Ghana to win 2-1. Abagna to come on and score the winner. Tekinam Wisdom from Tamale. He's asking why I'm still in Ghana. He says he thought I'd be in Cameroon to watch the Ethiopian ladies. Hey, okay, all right. Let's proceed. Let's proceed. Okay, let's have a look at the fixtures for today. The AFCON continues and there are matches happening in Group B. Senegal and Zimbabwe is at 1 p.m. Guinea and Malawi is at 4 p.m. That's the same time the Black Stars will be playing today. There are some matches in Ghana's group as well. Maybe we'll get those fixtures. There you have it. Morocco, Ghana at 4 p.m. and Comoros and Gabon at 7 p.m. Both the Ghanaian team and the Moroccan team, will have their eye on that game. They'll be watching that game as soon as they are done with theirs. And we'll see how that one. All right. So let's move it on. Let's talk about Senegal, guys. When we list the teams that could win the AFCON, it's almost as if Algeria is in one bracket, right? Algeria is almost alone.
No, I think Algeria and Senegal.
Okay, Algeria and Senegal. You put them together.
Them into 3 tiers. Algeria, Senegal, tier 1.
Tier 1.
Yes,
then
tier
you've got
1.
tier 2 teams.
You've got tier 2
tier 3 teams.
And then tier 3.
Okay,
Ghana is tier 3.
All right. But the Senegalese, Daniel, they seem to have a few issues. COVID issues. The 2 goal misses I hear have COVID. Edouard Mendy is not going to be in post. So do they lose anything with Mendy not being in post?
Yeah, I think even before the COVID struck the team, the fact that Ismail Assar is missing the tournament completely it's a huge blow to them, especially going forward. They are attacking wise. With Mane and the other guys up front, Mane Young and guys like that. Look, they don't have that recognized number 9, so they seem to spread the responsibility across board. And Ismaila Sarr is such a huge part of it. Now they have to do without a couple of key players, the 2 Gomez's, Edouard Mendy. Of course, Mendy's deputy is equally as good as him, if we are being honest. But it's the pedigree we are talking about, the fact that he's standing in the post as the best goalkeeper in Africa. They won't miss that. But I'm sure they are glad they are not missing their best players in the biggest game of this group. It's Zimbabwe. No disrespect to Zimbabwe, but Senegal should be able to deal with this fixture without a couple of their key players. They have quality in their team, and you expect it to come to bear. Okay,
all right. So Senegal and the Teranga Lions, they are hoping to win their first ever AFCON title. They made the final in 2002, and they take on Zimbabwe later
Zimbabwe
today.
Are in a horrible run of form. Yeah, and they have not won. In fact, they've not won a game in their last 12 games.
Well, it's not looking good for
Zimbabwe,
them.
and they're missing some key players as well. So Nakamba is out, injured. So their most prominent players, one of them retired recently. I think that was
Musona. I think Knowledge Musona.
So it's not looking good for Mapedza. It looks like I think this could really be a festival of goals.
Well, we'll see how it goes. Senegal, led by Sadio Mane, they take on the Zimbabweans.
Koulibaly is also out.
Koulibaly is not playing. At least he'll miss this game.
Yeah.
At least this game.
Should be back for the next one.
Yeah, he should be back for the next one. Alrighty, let's get to Susu. Graham. He's here on the touch screen to tell us a bit about the Black Stars and the Moroccans. They have a bit of history together and a bit of history on their own in terms of AFCON matches, opening day drama, and all of that in between. Susu, please take it away.
So the first thing I want to start with is our head-to-head record in Morocco. It's not really good when you look at it. So we've played them, I want to say 11 times, and we've lost 5 of those games, drawn 3 and lost 3. And one of the most notable defeats to Morocco was in 1976 when we played them, 1975, when we played them in AFCON qualifying and we lost to them on penalties.
Okay.
Morocco went on to win the competition that year. But when you look at Morocco's opening day, when we look at Ghana's opening day games, because this is what's important to us right now, we have a very mixed record in our opening day games. In fact, in 2002, we did meet Morocco, and we went on to go all the way to the quarterfinals that year. There have been about 10 AFCONs since then, and we've missed only one. That was in 2004, I believe, which was played in Tunisia. Funnily enough, Morocco got to the final that year, but when you look at that, aside that their performances have not been great, a lot of group stage exits have happened. But I would elaborate on that later. So when you look at our opening games, it looks like there's not really much correlation between how well we play in the opening day and where we go. Because if you remember, from 2008 to about 2017, a 9-year stretch, we went to the semi-finals at least for every single AFCON in that stretch. And when you look at that stretch, there's wins, there's losses, there's draws. So it doesn't make much of a difference in our AFCON how well we play in the opening game. I wouldn't want to describe Ghana as slow starters. I think that's a bit of a cliche that doesn't really apply here. But it looks like we are able to work ourselves later in the competition, do well in the knockout stages and get the wins. So when we win the 3 matches we've won, we have got to the semi-finals in each of them. So if we win, maybe that's a good omen for us going forward in the tournament. But when we've lost, like I said, it hasn't mattered, because when we got to the final in 2010, we lost to Ivory Coast in the first game, 3-1. If you remember, in that group with Togo, who withdrew from the competition after their bus attack. Now let's go to Morocco's opening games. So Morocco have missed 2 AFCONs in the period we are looking at. 2015 was the weirdest one because if you remember correctly, there was an Ebola outbreak and they said that they didn't want West African countries to come to them and lost the right to host. And because they had qualified as host and not through the conventional means, they were replaced by the new host and kicked from the competition.
Okay.
In fact, CAF tried to ban them, but it didn't work out. So as you can see from this, they've been knocked out in the group stages about 5 times and got to the final once. Okay. So it looks like even though Morocco are playing very well right now, in recent years, their AFCON performances have been very poor. When they've won some of their opening stage matches, like against Namibia, Nigeria, actually they've beaten Namibia twice in those opening day games, and they've only got to the final and won and gone to the round of 16 and 1. The rest, one quarter-final appearance and a lot of group stage exits. So Morocco are not really a good team in terms of their tournament performances. But if I go back earlier, you can see that their record in qualifying this year has been very strong. They've conceded 1 goal in AFCON and World Cup qualifying combined, scored 21 goals. And I think the only team that scored more than them are Algeria, who scored 33. But Algeria's defense was nowhere near as good. Algeria conceded about 7 goals in the same period. And I think they had a very strong Arab Cup, only losing on penalties to Algeria. So this is a team that we should be wary of. But like I said, their AFCON performances usually don't match their hype. So it remains to be seen how the Black Stars will do. But I, as a Patriot, are going for the Ghana win, despite the stats being against us.
Interesting stuff there. All right, we'll get back to the touch screen in a bit. Your thoughts? It's for the two teams, they need to start well for different reasons. The Black Stars need to remind Ghanaians that they are still a good team. They still know how to play an AFCON after losing 3-0 to Algeria in the pre-tournament friendly. And for Morocco, they need to win to give themselves some confidence, because like we've seen through, when Susu was running us through the history, they've suffered a lot of group stage exits in the last few years. And it's a bit of a spectre that's hanging around their reputation. Everybody says, oh, they are a top side, but there's not really much to show for all the quality they have.
Yeah, that is absolutely true. But I think this time, this is one of the, and this is an unpopular opinion, but this is definitely one of the strongest Moroccan teams that I've seen in a long time. Not even under Hervé Renard did they look this strong. Since Vahid took over, the last time that Morocco actually lost a game in competitive fixture, you have to go back to that 1-0 defeat to Portugal at the World Cup in 2018. At the beginning of 2021 alone, up till now, in 21 matches, they've kept 17 clean sheets.
Okay.
This is a team that is built on defensive solidity, and oftentimes that's how you win championships. They're a team that doesn't concede, and as Susu's graphic showed, they conceded 1 goal in 21 games or so. That is absolutely ridiculous. How strong their defensive statistics really look. And coupled with the fact that they're coming up against a team that doesn't really score as much, and I'm talking Ghana. Most of Ghana's games have been, in fact, each of Ghana's last 6 matches on foreign soil has been under 2.5. In other words, they've not been up to 3 goals in a single game. And even between the two teams, when Morocco have met Ghana, only on 3 occasions out of the 11 times that they have met, have both teams scored in the same game.
Okay.
All the other times, it's only one side that scores either 1 goal or either 0-0, as you showed from the last time in 2000 here in Ghana. So it's a game that is expected to come down to fine margins. And I'm talking about the fact that Ghana will not need more than a goal to win this game.
Okay.
If they can get that 1 goal, that might be all they will get, because Morocco are experts at shutting down opposition, and that's why I think this is very difficult for Ghana. Most especially because we are not very good goal scorers at the moment.
So you mean Morocco will not need more than 1 goal?
They won't need more than 1 goal. Neither will Ghana, because I don't think Morocco would concede more than 1 goal.
Essentially,
it will be determined by one goal. It's what I'm looking at. And it doesn't help that we don't score, and we are coming up against a team that doesn't concede. So how do you see that one ending? It's tricky. I think it helps with the fact that Morocco are missing some key players. El Nesri in particular is a big miss for them, the Sevilla striker. He has COVID. He's one of those players that's kept their front line firing from all angles. But there's still a lot of attacking threats from elsewhere. Achraf Hakimi, in particular, from that right-hand side, he's a massive danger. He's a player that likes to go forward an awful lot. And I think that it will be an interesting battle. Daniel and I were talking about it yesterday, between him and Kamaldeen Sulemana, because when Hakimi goes forward and leaves spaces in behind, that could be interesting. There are 2 players that both have pace, so he has an ability to get back. But Kamaldeen is younger and has an ability to get past him when necessary. So I think those key battles will be important. But personally, I'm looking at a game where the Black Stars will be on the back foot for longer spells.
Okay.
And this is typically not because we don't have an ability. It's just how the coach's mindset is. He goes out there, Milovan Rahivac. We've never really seen any sort of flamboyant football from him. So don't expect the Black Stars to go out and play nice football. I was listening to the BBC earlier today. The Cameroonians were not happy with the way Cameroon played, but they got the 3 points. And usually in tournaments, that's what's important. I expect that we will be on the back foot for longer spells of this match, because I think that Morocco have more than enough to dominate us. And our tactics usually don't help with ball retention. And it will be important to get our midfield options right, because that sort of pressure, sometimes when you come up against opposition teams that can score as much as Morocco, that sort of pressure will yield results eventually.
Okay.
You can't always rely on counter-attacking situations. So Milo has to be very, very particular with the way he sets his team up. I think that it is important for us to control the midfield, for Ghana to get the midfield under control. And that will come down to the choices, because I think that I can see 2 players starting already, Baba Idrissi and Partey. But that third choice midfielder is the critical difference between having good control over this game and basically ceding possession to the opposition every other minute. And I'm talking about Mubarak Wakasu. If you partner Mubarak Wakasu in that midfield, as hardworking as he is, he can be a liability in possession.
Okay.
Because he likes to go too long.
So now you've mentioned that, does it now highlight, for example, the need for players like, say, Bernard Mensah or now Fred Duncan, somebody who would keep the ball better and make better use of it?
But they are not there.
Exactly, that's the point I was just going to make. I don't think
players are not there. Daniel,
so now we have other options like Edmonado. It's available.
But is it not another defensive, or you bring him in and then you move Thomas Partey somewhere else?
That's an idea. That's an idea. Okay. You can play a double pivot and put Partey in front. Or I personally think you can even play Partey alongside Baba Idrisu and put maybe Fatah Issahaku there. Okay. Why not? He's capable. He's got confidence. He can shoot from long range. He's got a certain ability that very few people in the squad has. So if you put him there and give him a certain responsibility to move around that penalty box area, I think he's capable. And then put Jordan out wide on the right-hand side and Kamaldeen on the left, maybe supporting Andre Ayew in there. That's possible. Okay.
Then Elias says, yes, Morocco conceded 1 goal, but we should forget that they played their World Cup qualifiers at home for very obvious reasons. So it means that now this is a bit of a new territory for the Moroccans. They are not at home now.
But the World Cup qualifiers are just 6 games out of 21. So it's not like they played all of them there.
But I mean, Daniel, is this Moroccan team, are they vulnerable? Do they have a weakness? Are there things Milovan Rahivac can spot and say that is where possibly we could capitalize on and get something from the game?
Look, every team has a weakness, and yes, the Moroccan team has weaknesses. I think it's just down to the Black Star setup and how they decide to approach the game. I've put down a couple of pointers that I just want to get to, just for you guys to see what I'm talking about, especially on how the Black Stars will possibly set up in this game. This is what I think will happen in terms of formation. If you look at Milo's time with the Black Stars, he usually favors a 4-2-3-1. So that's what you have on the screen. And this is a provisional lineup, so this is not confirmed. We've seen that Milo likes to have Amati at right back. It looks like he trusts him in that position. He doesn't have his fullbacks bumping for it, so he doesn't necessarily need that attacking sort of fullback. So he has Amati in there, Baba Rahman. If you've watched Baba Rahman and Milo, he usually doesn't move over the halfway line. So he's very defensive on that aspect. So when it comes to that sort of setup, this is how I feel the Black Stars should set up. And then also, how they should approach the game should be a more of a counter-attacking approach. Why do I say a counter-attacking approach? Because if you look at the Moroccans and how they approach their football, they are very attacking side. They have a very high line, so you see the likes of Saiz and Aguerd and Hakimi and Massine and co moving forward, pushing the press on the Black Stars. And we saw the Black Stars suffer under that kind of pressure against Algeria in that friendly game. Anytime we want to get the ball back, they press us within 7-8 seconds, they want the ball back. So the Black Stars should not go with that game plan of trying to control possession. It won't work. because we just don't have the personnel who can do that. The reason why I put Partey in that holding midfield position is because when you are opting for a counter-attacking approach, you need a progressor. Fent has already said they are like, there's no progressor. If you look at the other options on the bench, you have the likes of Wakaso, Edmonado. They are just stoppers. Destroyers. Yeah. They can't progress the ball. So if you are playing a counter-attacking formation and you win the ball back, you need somebody with that vision to be able to spring the ball forward and start more attacks. And we also know Partey has the ability to drop deep with Baba. You expect the likes of Jordan and you, of course, he would start on paper. I'm sure he'll start up top, but I'm sure he'll switch places with his brother. Andrea, you come down the right hand side. And we know Jordan does a lot of defensive work up and down. He does that with Crystal Palace. I think Susu has run us by those stats. He's one of the best defensive wingers. Defensive striker. And so if you look at this setup, I think that's how the Black Stars should. And when you look at the key, for me, the key player in this game will be Kamaldeen Suleiman. Everybody's talking about that one-on-one battle with Hakimi. And it's not just talk. It's actually very important because Hakimi loves to bump forward. And if he has this, and he always has this very good relationship with whichever right winger he's playing with. He gives those overlapping runs down there, can deliver the crosses in there. So he leaves a lot of space in behind. And that's where Kamaldeen will come in. I don't think Milo will let Kamaldeen do a lot of defending, which we saw in the couple of games he's played. He doesn't necessarily drop back. He leaves him up there for that option, that counter-attacking option. And that's why I think the Black Stars can come and hit the Moroccans on the day. I think another important thing is for us to go back to the game Ghana played with Morocco back in June. Okay. That was a very important. The 1-0 loss under CK Akono. I think that will give you an idea of how we should play this game. If you look at this, we had opportunities. That's how we set up. But I think we were let down by decision making. If you look at the high line of the Moroccans on the day, look at how far their defensive line is. And that is after Jordan Ayew has just won the ball. They are so far in front or far ahead of their goalkeeper that it leaves so much space in behind. But if you watch how play progresses, and that's why I talk about decision making, Jordan Ayew should be making this pass quickly enough as soon as he wins the ball. You have Samuel Osu making the run in behind, but the players are not being found. And that was a bit problematic for the Black Stars on the day. But the approach was working because you could see that there were opportunities for the counter-attack. So you see play progresses and then the Moroccans are able to come back. This is another opportunity for the Black Stars. Samuel Osu picks up the ball. You look as play progresses. And let me slow this down. You see another high line from the Moroccans. But how do we exploit that? It was down to decision making on the day. The passes were not quick enough. Jordan should be making this run quicker. Kudu should be making this run quicker to give Samuel Osu more options. They were not able to do that. And then as you watch, as play progresses, the Moroccans are able to come back, play fizzles out, and then it goes against the Black Stars of Ghana. So all these things will play a part. But I think the approach will work. If we go for a counter-attacking formation or a counter-attacking approach, it will work. Another thing I also want to highlight is just the battle between Hakimi and then his very good friend Kamaldeen. Now this is the first ever battle they had earlier this season where Ren played PSG. That is where this thing will come into being, and you could see that the Ren manager saw that weakness in Hakimi's game, his defensive weakness, and he isolated play in order for Hakimi to have, or Kamaldeen to have more one-on-one opportunities with Hakimi. So as play progresses, you look at this. Now this is something interesting I picked up. This was early on in the first half. If you look at the distance between Hakimi and Kamaldeen, he's giving him not too much room for him to be able to go past him. But then he was so unsuccessful in the first couple of minutes. If you watch us and the clips move on, he started giving him more space because now he was getting. So you see, the gap is widening because he's now anticipating that, first of all, Kamaldeen has more pace than him. He has more skill than him. So he's giving him more room. And when you are an attacking player and you notice that your marker is giving you this room, it only grows in confidence because, of course, when you have the skill and the ability to move past them, it helps your game. And that's what happened. Kamaldeen had a fantastic game against PSG. He ended up giving an assist in that game. As more highlights, let me just fast forward this one so that you see what I'm talking about. This is in the second half. Now look at how much room he's giving him in the second half because Hakimi grew more scared of Kamaldeen. And he keeps on backing off because he's reminded that this guy can do anything with the ball. And that room only helps the attacking player on the day. So I feel this is an aspect of the game that Milo must look at, trying to get the best out of Kamaldeen. And the good thing about this Black Star squad, when you watch through, even if Kamaldeen is not fit enough to play, we have somebody on the left wing, that is Joseph Pencil, who has almost equal ability as Kamaldeen and can cause us as much hurt or as much pain to Hakimi as Kamaldeen will be able to do. So I think this is, per what I have studied in the game, I think this is an aspect that the Black Stars can use to hurt the Moroccans on the game.
The other issue, Daniel, that you pointed out, and is decision making, mostly in the final third. And I think we've talked about that an awful lot when it comes to even Kamaldeen himself. He can sometimes create these opportunities, but the final ball is often lacking. How do you solve that problem? Because even from the earlier analysis, you could see that the decision making was always lacking, and sometimes that's the margin. Making a quick decision within a split second is a difference between a ball going wide or a ball getting into the intended pass, because we seem to have that problem. How do we get past that? I mean, we will create these spaces, but will we make the right decisions in time?
For me, when it comes to this question, and this is a brilliant question you've asked, it's all down to coaching. When you look at the friendly back in June last year, you could tell that the approach was right, but they were not drilled enough to have the attacking patterns, what to do when they get the ball. So we had good opportunities and promising situations, but the decision making was lacking. The players were not on the same wavelength. And that is where I choose to trust Milo. Because if you go back to 2010, a similar young, inexperienced team, we didn't have too many opportunities. But if you look at the goal Asamoah Gyan scored against Angola, for example, we had the ball deep, one long ball from Kojo Asamoah, found Asamoah Gyan. You could tell that those sort of situations were popping in almost every game Ghana played. So they were drilled and they knew exactly what to do with the ball. Everybody seemed to be on the same wavelength. And I think with Milo and what he's done in the last 4 games, that is 4 competitive games, you can clearly tell that this is somebody who understands organization. He understands approach when it comes to tournaments. And you can bet on him that the players will be on the same wavelength today. And of course, you can also rely on individual quality on the day. You have Kamaldeen, who already has that confidence coming up against Hakimi. You look at the experience of Andre Dede Ayew. Some may say, should he start because of the sort of approach I'm talking about. But also, if you have somebody who has the ability to hold that play like Dede can do, his movement in and around the box, you don't necessarily need your number 9 to be on the end of moves. Dede's intelligence runs in and around the box can easily move defenders away and create space for the other attacking players. So I think, honestly, I feel with the players we have, we could easily formulate a perfect game plan to get a result.
And one last one. The other, I don't want to call it a conundrum, but it really is the fact that Baba Rahman, we know him, his biggest abilities is when he's going forward. But when he plays on the same side as Kamaldeen Sulemana, he's often made to defend an awful lot. Is that to say that perhaps in a system like this, where Kamaldeen is trusted with a lot of attacking abilities and expected to keep the width, we're going to see Baba Rahman in this tournament doing a lot more defending than usual?
I think that's what it is. And that's what I mentioned in the earlier one. If you look at, that's why I've gone with Amate as a right back. Even if Andy Yadon plays, we've seen him, I think, in the game against Ethiopia, where he hardly went over the line. That is a Milo philosophy.
But it essentially means that our fullbacks will not be providing anything in an attacking sense.
And you see, that's why I always say, it might not be what you like, but
if it's effective.
It's effective. And for as long as Milo has been here, that's what he's been doing. He's been getting results. So I feel, and if we are giving Baba Rahman some credit, if we are being honest with ourselves, on the defensive side of things, he's been pretty solid with the Black Stars since Milo came. His now new defensive role. And also, I think the added ability he has is his ability to pick passes from deep. He has a good technique and good vision to be able to get passes from deep. If you remember the South Africa game, the second half of that game, Kamaldeen's chance where he sprang behind the South African defense, cutting in, goalkeeper came off his line, hit the ball out. It came from a Baba Rahman pass from deep. He has that vision to see the pass, has that ability to execute it. So he doesn't necessarily have to be on this side of the pitch to be able to do that. He can find the pass from deep. And I think that is another asset we have if we decide to play a counter-attacking formation. Because if the ball gets to the likes of Partey, Baba Rahman, Jonathan Mensah, who's also good playing with his feet, we can have an ability to progress the ball and cause some danger for the Moroccans.
All right, let's go through some of the messages there. Our colleague Benjamin Nketia, he's in Cameroon. We'll be hearing from him in a second there. But Michael Pencil, he says, say hi to my United brother Danny. And he says, I have a feeling the Black Stars will shock Africa in this AFCON. We'll see. All right, let's get that video from Benjamin Nketia. He's in Cameroon, keeping an eye on the Black Stars and all things AFCON. And he sent in a preview of Ghana's game against Morocco, which will be played at 4 p.m. today.
Hi Nathan, so I'm at the media center of the Amaju Ahijo Stadium where Ghana will take on Morocco in the first Group C encounter of the AFCON so far. Now, if you know what's been going on, the Black Stars had only 4 days to prepare before this particular competition. Milovan Rajevac says that it isn't a problem because of the circumstances that everybody has had to endure. Indeed, he even went further by saying that it was deliberate for the team to arrive late for the competition. I'm not sure how that works with everybody, but he says that the team arrived late deliberately. What we know so far from the training sessions that we've watched is that there is likely to be a change of some sorts at right back because, as you know, Andy Yadom returned very, very late, and so Daniel Amate had to make do as a makeshift right back in that friendly against Algeria. Philemon Bafo obviously was on trials in Portugal, trying to secure a deal for himself, so he didn't feature in that encounter. From what we've seen so far and from what we've picked up, there's a good chance that Baba Rahman starts at left back today and will be partnered possibly by Jonathan Mensah and maybe Daniel Amate in the back there. We also have a little dilemma with the midfield, but again, through the training session and some of the communications we've received, it's possible that Baba Idrisu will anchor that midfield and will be partnered by Partey and Mubarak Wakaso. Wakaso's place, however, is not too assured, so do not be surprised if Wakaso does not end up starting in this particular encounter. At left wing, I expect Kamaldeen Sulemana to start. At right wing, it happens to be a little up in the air because Joseph Paintso appears to have gained a lot of rapport with the coaching staff. I could see Mike Stankovic interacting with him a lot before the training session yesterday started. And so you can tell that he possibly will be battling it out for Fatah Isahaku for who gets to play in that right back slot. As far as Morocco are concerned, my good friend Mohamed Talil of Radio Mass has told me that they have 2 positive COVID cases and 2 injuries as well. Now, Sevilla's Youssef and Nesri is injured for Morocco, so that should be a big blow for them. Remember that they're already missing out on Hakim Ziyech, so it's quite the dilemma for Halilovic. But remember that they also are one of the teams that went the whole qualifying series without actually losing a single game. So it's bound to be an interesting game. If you look at the pitch at the Amadou Ahijo Stadium, it looks in really good condition, but it's one thing for the pitch to look like it's in good condition and another thing for it to actually hold up when the players start to run and start to apply a little pressure on there. As far as I can tell, the Black Stars they have a clean bill of health. There are no injury concerns. Coach Milovan Rajevac says that no positive COVID-19 cases have been recorded. As for us journalists, we've had to actually go through a COVID test to actually get access to this game, and it will continue. You have to test every single game before you get into the match venue. So everything is set. Everything is just about ready to get going for the competition. We are all excited. It should be a very, very entertaining game, but it should also be very challenging as well, because you can tell from Rahevac's press conference that he's buoyed up. He wants to win this to make a statement. He has said that Algeria game should not be taken too seriously because it's a friendly match. So I can tell you from where I sit that we are in for a really good game this later in the afternoon. The game is a late afternoon game, so it should be interesting.
All right, my colleague Benjamin Nketia from Cameroon enjoying himself there. Like Fence, he's looking good.
Yes, he's eating good.
He's eating good.
It's looking good. You know the interesting thing? Today I was looking at footage from the last AFCON. And you guys, you should see it. Guys, especially Benjamin. Looks so small.
Looks so small. Interesting.
Crammed in some corners.
Yeah. Fantastic stuff. All right.
I remember that.
Okay, you're still watching the AFCON Daily Show on Citi TV. We'll take a break. When we come back, more messages, concluding thoughts from the guys, and then we wrap it all up. We'll be right back. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back. This is the AFCON Daily Show on Citi TV. My name is Nathan Kwao. You just saw Benjamin Nketia from Cameroon. If you're wondering where he is, he's in Cameroon. covering the AFCON. Daniel Cranting, Fenton Tahiru are here with me. Susu Graham is on the touch. We'll get back to him in a second. Mbappe, not from Paris, but from Timpani.
Mbappe from Timpani. I always knew Mbappe had roots in the...
Yes. He says Kamaldeen Sulemana will score Ghana's first goal. Interesting.
Braceau.
Yep. Nana Etiahene from Dansoman says Ghana 2, Morocco 1. Okay, those are some predictions coming in. Humble Lion from Wale Wale says Ghana is going to score 2 goals. But you haven't told us how many goals the Moroccans will score. Dominic from Techiman Sabun Zongo says Ghana is going to win by 1 goal to 0. All right, let's get to Susu. Final bit on Morocco. They are missing their top man, Yusuf El Nesri. Susu, what exactly does his miss mean for the Moroccans as they play the Black Stars later today?
I mean, he's one of the best African strikers around. He scored 24 goals for Sevilla last season, 18 in La Liga. Very good numbers for someone who came off the bench some of the time. He's 6'2", he's quick, so he can handle himself physically. He's good in the air, he's good with his feet. He's a complete striker, and honestly, our centre-backs are lucky they don't have to face him. Morocco have missed him a bit in some of their matches, but they've still got goals from their midfield and other wingers, like Mounier El Haddai, if you remember, who made his debut for Barca a few years ago, made his debut for Spain, had issues and was eventually able to switch his nationality back to Morocco. So this is still a dangerous team, but El Nesri means that our defenders will have a bit more sleep last night because they are not facing one of the most dangerous African strikers. So I think that extra rest will help them do better today.
All right, interesting stuff there. Let's have a look at the fixtures for match day 2 of the AFCON. There you have it. Morocco, Ghana is at 4. Comoros, Gabon, that's at 7. And let's have a look at the fixtures from Group B. Senegal and Zimbabwe, while Guinea take on Malawi. So those are the games for
that Guinea-Malawi game. I have interest there.
Why do you have?
The Guinean military leader has sent
a
stern warning to the team. Either you win the AFCON or come and refund the money.
Like, you know what I'll do? I'll put my bonus on 2 sure odds.
double it.
So I don't have to refund that.
So you refund and then you keep the rest.
But on a more serious note, it should be an interesting game. Mostly because I think Guinea have been poor themselves. So in the last 6 games or so, they've not won. And then Malawi, on the other hand, is only their 3rd time at the AFCON, and their 2 previous times they finished bottom of their group. So they're not exactly at the position that should threaten Guinea at all. Okay. Guinea are an interesting proposition, aren't they? There are times when they can seem very difficult, very talented, like when they came to Ghana in 2008. Even at AFCON, if I'm not mistaken, even at AFCON 2017, they looked good until they met Ghana in the round of 16 when Ghana beat them by 4 goals to 0 when they had the whole Ebola situation and they still came to the tournament. And then they ended up, was when Achu scored some wonder goal.
I think it was 2015.
That was 2015.
Thank you.
Yeah.
They were very good in the group stages up until that point. But I think they still got some talent in there, not less the Liverpool man, Naby Keita, leading them in the middle of the park. So everywhere you look on the African continent, I think there's always that one team that's got that one talent that everyone is looking out for. And one thing I like about African football mostly is that it doesn't matter who the star man is and whether he plays at the top level or not. Once he's the star man, when he puts on that national team jersey, he's a completely different player. In every African team, they take responsibility. It's like every player turns into Rudiger when they don their national team jerseys on the African continent. And that's why we love the AFCON. Okay. It's just that thing about you can't put a finger to it.
The wow factor. There's something special about African football. Daniel, your concluding thoughts?
Of course. How can I conclude without talking about my voice? Black Stars are in action today. Look, I'm pumped. Then, like I said earlier, I really feel like Milo has what it takes. He's done it before. I think this group of players are motivated. They know what is at stake. And also, if you look at Morocco, in as much as they're a talented group, they usually underwhelm when it comes to the big occasion. And I just feel like today will be one of those days where the Black Stars will cause that shock and people will begin to look at them and take them seriously, because I don't see how Ghana entering a competition and people are seeing them as underdogs. I think it's good because it takes pressure off us. But today we'll let people understand that we are still big boys.
Can I just say one thing?
What's that?
Vahid Halilhodzic and Milovan Rahivac have only met previously once. Vahid Halilhodzic was in charge of Cote d'Ivoire AFCON 2010. Cote d'Ivoire 3, Ghana 1.
On the opening
We'll
day.
see how that one goes. We'll see how it goes. This has been another exciting episode of the AFCON Daily Show on Citi TV. We are back tomorrow at midday. We'll look back at maybe what should be a Ghana win, and then we'll talk about all other things AFCON. The games kick off at 1 p.m. Ghana plays at 4 p.m. So just be on the lookout for some updates. You can visit citisportsonline.com for all the stories, news, updates, and all the inside filler from the Black Stars camp and from the AFCON. My name is Nathan Kwame. Many thanks for watching. We'll do it again tomorrow. Do enjoy the rest of your day. Stay safe, take care, and bye-bye.